What is up, everybody? Mark on the mic, my good friend Ryan Muckenhirn across from me today, as is so many days. Ryan, we talk a lot about cartridges around here. It's not a new topic. 6.5s and fast 7s and all the things. And somehow, every now and again, actually on a pretty frequent basis, we circle right back to the 308. Dun, dun, dun.
Mark wouldn't let me do the intro. Thanks, Mark. You're correct. We're back.
I get one thing. I get one thing in life. Let me have that. Don't take that from me.
We're back on 308.
We're back on 308. We're going to talk about a specific loading, one that we've talked about before, probably many times as, sub-context or subtopic to a greater topic.
Yeah.
But we're like, you know what? This one warrants its own spotlight.
Every so often, ammunition manufacturer will select a projectile and execute a particular reloading practice that gives a cartridge a completely new life and really metamorphosizes it into a different animal.
Right.
And some outstanding examples of this. Hornady, 30-30 lever evolution. Gone are the days of the 170 grain round nose, puttering along with the ballistic coefficient of an ashtray, perhaps a Kleenex box. They put a nice racy 160 grain projectile in there, gave it a nice squishy tip, and changed the capability of 30-30 Winchester. And even in old guns, like I shoot lever evolution out of my 30-30. Which was minted prior to my father's being born.
Right.
Being born.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yep.
Gotcha. Punctuation is important.
It is.
Yeah, Ryan. I mean, you nailed it. And it goes back to just bullet technology and design is so critical to the overall performance of of any cartridge.
Yeah.
And like you said, can completely give a cartridge a facelift or turn it into something else.
Yeah.
Or it really is crazy what we do these days. And this is an example of it where we've paired something that you don't, I guess this is the only loading that I'm aware of commercially that's like super similar to this. Am I missing anything?
These days, yeah. Federal for a while had something similar in their hypervelocity line.
Okay. Punctuation is important, or, tense had, you said?
Yep.
Okay. Gone. Okay.
But this is just a standard loading.
No, yeah, it is.
It's just it's its own animal.
Well, should we talk about what it is? Tell us what it is.
This is the Barnes Factory Vortex, no affiliation other than great friendship. Different spelling.
I can't fault them for
great name.
Wanting a cool name.
I know. This is their 130 grain TTSX loading in the 308 Winchester. This is a load that I use so frequently for so many things. It is probably my favorite factory loading ever.
I was talking to Graham just this morning.
Graham Cronin.
Yes, he's getting
very own.
He's getting a 308 sighted in today.
Yeah,
actually,
my chrono's on his desk.
Okay, he's got an upcoming hunt.
Yeah,
and he's got a couple options. This is one of the options, and we're chatting through his hunt and shot distances and things like that. And to me, I was like, oh, if it shoots, barring that it shoots well out of your rifle,
which it does.
I'd go with this one.
I was with
because of what it's going to give you. And he doesn't have, not that this wouldn't be capable of it, because it would, but he's like, oh yeah. I was like, are your shots like 400 and in? And he's like, oh dude, I think they're going to be like 100. And I'm like, oh, this thing's going to be like a lightning bolt. Go with this thing.
I was with Graham, who by the way is growing out a mullet at the moment.
He was in a little bit of a tweener stage with it.
Now it's happening.
I'm not going to say it's full bloom, but there's a blossom there.
Yeah, you can tell there's a flower about to emerge.
Mm-hmm.
I was with him the other day. Him and Sling and Rick joined me at our outdoor range to do some muzzle velocity validation, some ballistics coefficient truing, to understand the new version of geoballistics that is now out and available. If you don't have the app downloaded, if you do have the app and you haven't updated it, the new version is bananas. And we were going through all that. Rick was going on his elk hunt. Surprise, surprise, successful. Graham got himself a new Tikka. Graham got a Tikka T3X Rough Tech Superlight. That's a Euro Optics exclusive.
That's a cool rifle.
Yeah, they are a cool rifle, Mark. You ought to bring it in. Let me put a scope on it, and we'll go zero it.
I have to learn to do this myself. Actually, I probably will do it myself. But I say that, okay, another sidetrack. We do that. The line that I just dropped is from, in my opinion, one of the best movies ever. There's Something About Mary.
Great movie.
Okay. I felt a level of skepticism there.
Great movie.
A lot of people we work with have not seen that movie.
It's too bad.
You owe it. If you haven't, I think you owe it to yourself.
I told Graham prior to coming to the long range, shoot a box of regular through your gun. Let's get this thing fire lapped in, a little burnishing to the bore, and we'll go out and do it. And these guns are a 20-inch gun. And so he did. He shot 20 rounds and shot very well. And then we got everything set up. We chronographed his gun. He was just under 3,000 feet per second with this loading out of that little short barrel. And Graham put up a 400-yard group that would have been inside of this.
Yeah. And what you're showing is probably about a what?
I'm going to say
picture an 8-inch target, maybe something like that.
Oh, much smaller than 8 inches.
On my ruler, it's 8.
Okay. Good for you. And Graham doesn't shoot a ton of rifle. Graham does a lot of archery, shoots a lot of turkeys, but not a huge rifleman.
Mm-hmm.
Very comfortable gun to shoot. He has it suppressed. Ding, ding, ding. 400 yards. He was golden. He let out an audible woo-woo with this loading. So anyway, what is this loading? It's a 130 grain all copper projectile from Barnes. It's their tipped triple shock in the 308. Now it's the only loading that Barnes does with this bullet. So there's other 30 caliber cartridges that this would work in, but this is the only one they do with the 130 TTSX. They have a reduced recoil loading that's a little bit different, got a slightly different bullet, but this one is the only one that they've got. I have loaded this projectile, which we have an example of right here, in 308 Winchester, 30-06 Springfield, 300 short mag, 300 Winchester Magnum, 300 Weatherby Magnum.
Yikes!
It's wild. It is such a delightful projectile. And so,
do you recall what you were getting for velocity out of an 06?
32. I think 32.25, 32.50 in there.
I'm surprised it's not a little bit more. I mean, the box says 31 and change.
I'm not full throttle. I just found accuracy and was like, oh my gosh, it's 3,200 feet per second.
Because box posted 31.25, which I'd say that's got to be pretty darn accurate if Graham was getting just sub 3 out of a 20-inch barrel.
Yeah, my Kimber will put these up at 31.45.
And that has a 22
inch.
Yeah.
Yep. And Tikka's generally a little slow. It has been my experience.
I just found its Achilles heel.
Don't say BC.
BC of 0.350.
Great. We'll talk about it. You're the kind of guy who reads boxes, doesn't know what the numbers mean, and passes them over.
You know, just so you know, I was teeing that up for you intentionally, and then you just...
You think that was
You think
that was a subtle jab?
No, it was just a regular.
Mark, that was behind the neck and full through.
Yeah, I don't care for it.
Here's the thing. You have to. Where do I start? I don't even know how I landed on the 130 in the first place. I was thinking about that on my way to work today, and I don't know how it came to my head to try this little projectile. I don't know when the first time was that I tried the little projectile. I don't even know if it was in 308, 30-06, 300 short mag, 300 Win mag, or 300 Weatherby. I don't remember what the first one was that I tried. My guess is it was in 30-06 or 300 Weatherby.
My gut would tell me, you said, well, this is probably a pretty tough bullet that'll stay together. I wonder how fast it'll go.
Seems right. Seems like me, but I can't recall when it was. And so before I ever fired the loaded ammunition, I was hand loading the stuff. And it became my favorite 30 caliber projectile for hunting real quick. And so the 308, it'll clock them at mid 31s, the 30-06, mid to high 32s, 300 Wisdom, 34 and a quarter, 300 Weatherby, I stopped at 36.50. Faster than that, it was untenable recoil.
34.
34 and a quarter out of 300 Wisdom. And 300 Win Mag. They were nearly identical.
Yikes.
34 and a quarter. They were hauling.
I don't think I even want my bullet to be going that fast.
There's a reason for it, though. Like, it's concerted advantage. Is that the right word to use?
Sure.
Okay. There's a reason for it. So you mentioned the BC. It is at a deficit in comparison to an equally lengthed but higher mass, say 150 grain projectile. In fact, just before this, I measured this projectile at 1.1750 inches and then compared it to a 150 grain Nosler partition, 1.1750 inches. Same length. The partition will bring a higher BC to the table. This has to do with mass distribution and profile and some other things. But you can eclipse BC and its benefits with velocity.
Sure.
And when you look at like a 308 pushing a 150, figure 28 to 28.50 is pretty average. There are some loadings that are faster, but that's a standard loading. Like I think Hornady's interlock 150. I know this because I was just doing custom turrets this morning, and factory data came in, interlock 150 soft point.
I killed me some deer with some interlocks before.
Sure. 28.25 was the posted MV on the back of the box. So if I beat that number by 300 or 400 feet per second, the merit of BC is negated significantly. My time of flight is reduced by a tremendous amount. My drop is reduced by a tremendous amount. And then out to reasonable distances. And this is the caveat that everybody's going to hang on to this. And if you are somebody who's like, BC is the only thing that makes the thing work, you're going to look at the wind values and be like, well, see, that one's got better wind drift at 600 yards. Sure. Is 308 Winchester the cartridge you'd likely be hunting at 600 yards? You could. I've done it. It's less than ideal. There are better cartridges for doing that. As Mark says, it's where does a ramrod go? But that 130 at hypervelocity speeds for the cartridge opens up a whole different level of performance. And Mark, I took some screenshots ahead of time.
Oh, good for you.
So this is real data. This is as measured from real life guns. So my Kimber Mountain Ascent, 100 yard zero with the 130 TTSX loading. So again, muzzle velocity of 31.45 out of that gun. My 400 yard data, we have 6.1 MOA of drop. I compared this with my 20-inch Tikka, or 22-inch Tikka 6.5, the proof gun.
Same barrel length then.
Yep. This is a gun you've hunted before. It's a delightful rifle. I've killed a lot of things with it.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
7.4 MOA of vertical correction. So there's a 1.3 MOA advantage to the 308.
And this was at
400.
At 400.
Yep. Now, the 143 ELDX loading that I set this up for in the 6.5 Creedmoor retains velocity slightly better at that distance. So 400 yards with the 308s, 2060, 400 yards with the 6.5 Creedmoors, 2140. So there's an advantage there because of BC, but it's not a huge advantage. There is an energy advantage to the 6.5 at that distance, 1,457 foot-pounds versus 1,225. But both of those are still well within.
It's still a very effective terminal package.
Correct. When you get inside of that, you can quickly see the 308 take hold and be the victor, right? Wind drift will be better on the 6.5. It's a more aerodynamically sound projectile. but it's not like, it's like 1 MOA of windage correction versus 10. It's still a functional loading. And why I love this load is because I love 308. I can load this up with a 168 TTSX and end-to-end to moose, or I can load 130s and take pronghorn, mule deer, and whitetail to 400 or 500 yards with great ease, a super flat trajectory, and pretty minor recoil. And time of flight is like right now. I mean, that thing is lightning quick. And so I've started thinking about cartridges and bullets in balance. Like, I can take, for instance, we could take a 308 Winchester and we could put a 212 grain LRX in it.
Oh, who would do something like that?
Well,
Ryan?
somebody goofy is what they would be dropping off a gun tonight with Matt Peterson to get done. I mean, that would be nuts.
That'd be, completely asinine.
Is this balanced? No, probably not. Is it effective? Yes, but there's a lot of concessions to be made, and it doesn't really highlight the capability of the case, and it's on paper pretty anemic until you get downrange. We'll get to that one later. But that 130 in that 308 and what it does for the shooter who's we'll just say, draw a line in the sand, 500 and in hunter. Boy, is that well balanced. We have trajectory similar or better than that of cartridges like 270 Winchester, renowned for trajectory, 6.5 Creedmoor, renowned for trajectory. We have greater frontal diameters in both, and frontal diameter is a thing to me. And I arrive at that after cutting apart a lot of things and looking at bullets as they pass through, vital tissue.
I agree. So I 100% agree with that. But then I also watched what your little 6 arc did to a whitetail, and I'm like, I don't know.
A lot of frontal diameter on that bullet, though.
On the 6 arc?
You bet. That 95 LRX, when that thing deploys.
Okay, yeah, when it deployed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just saying going into the deal. You know what I mean? It's not a 30 cal.
It's not.
It's not a 338.
Now imagine what a 30 cal does when it opens up like that, and it's got those 4 cutting pedals that are Ninja bullet blenders going through the target.
All right, Odell.
Yes, that's correct. I can show you a picture afterward, just graphic. Sizing approximately tennis ball. Anyhow, 308 Winchester, by the way. This loading revitalizes a 308, I think, and turns it into a completely different cartridge from an application and use standpoint. In that if you have a 308 or you've been courting a rifle and you want something that's modest in recoil, can provide exceptional performance, and has ammunition availability and rifle availability everywhere. This is another feather in the 308's cap as why it should be your selection, because loadings like this exist. Now, a question I get, because I recommend this one a lot, is, well, 130, that's really light, isn't it? Here's the question I pose. You and I shoot a lot of bullets into jello. We've shot bullets into jello through bone, through water, at short distances, at long distances, and bullets ranging from, high BC, match profile hunting bullets to, ho-hum, lead tipped, et cetera, et cetera. Here's the question I pose to you. What is better? To have a bullet that weighs 150 grains, that loses 40 to 50% of its mass while traversing a body cavity, or a bullet that leaves at 130 grains and retains 97% of its mass as it goes through?
It's a valid question.
And when we think about energy, and this is one I get a lot, because I'm not a person who subscribes to energy as being the thing that kills critters. And my immediate to that is, if I have a 308 Winchester and I'm shooting 150 grain, Sierra Game King, this is a bullet that's engineered to disrupt when it hits a target, misshapen or become misshapen, catch tissue, tear tissue, and destroy organs. And I shoot a 150 grain FMJ. Both of these bullets are launched at the same velocity. Both of these bullets have the same mass. Ergo, both of these bullets have the same energy. The transference of energy is completely different. One of them pokes a 30 caliber hole through what we hit. Hopefully we hit something good. and it dies. One of them breaks apart, mushrooms, tears, cuts, blends. And then we have a completely different effect. So energy cannot alone just be like, well, it doesn't have enough energy. Be the thing that we talk about. And then if we really think about energy, and we think about when we strike a deer, so now we're going to take or an elk or whatever critter, we should take a cross section of that. Like we've got the animal frontal, we've removed the front half, and we're looking through that. A bullet that begins to lose mass through its traversing the body cavity is also losing velocity because it's got resistance and friction. So losing mass and velocity at the same time is doing what to our energy?
It's reducing it, but it's also leaving.
Where is it leaving it, though? Is it leaving it in the first 2 inches? And then we have a different condition 2 inches deeper, and then a different condition 2 inches deeper, and then a different condition 2 inches deeper?
Likely.
Yes, because we are shedding mass and shedding velocity. And we're not delivering the same energy at the surface as we are at the center. How about a bullet that when it impacts, deploys very rapidly, as we've seen with TTSXs and LRXs, even TSXs in the right application. We have this bullet that now falls into what I'll call its terminal shape. So we've got, that geometry of the projectile working for us. It's retaining its mass and it's shedding velocity. The decrement of energy is not so dramatic. And there's a delivery path that carries that value deeper into the animal to get next to the heart or the central nervous system tissue or, the cardiovascular tissue. Because if we drop it all on a shoulder blade, what did we do? We dropped it all.
Okay, I will say this. The energy numbers are not the first number that I look at.
No.
It's probably maybe third on my list.
Yeah.
At the highest. But I will say, a bullet that operates differently than this, yes, it's shedding energy, maybe quicker. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. But, it's still radiating into the critter.
And
right?
being absorbed by tissue and structure.
That is potentially being damaged by it.
Could be. Depends on how deep it got.
Right.
And the only reason I arrive at that is, again, cutting layer by layer, tissue by tissue style, removing things in layer and looking at trauma. And it's effectively irrefutable at this point because it's just been tested ad nauseum by people way smarter than I am, right? If you can get to the good stuff and you can dump it all right there, oh yeah, whatever you're hitting is cooked. Getting to the good stuff is the first step.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So I subscribe to...
So we subscribe to the same philosophy.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that I don't want to completely dismiss...
No.
I guess that's, there's more than one way to skin a cat, if you will.
That's correct. This one, I believe, allows the shooter more lenience and more forgiveness and better opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And then energy on the whole. It's like you shoot things with bows.
Mm-hmm.
Bows don't bring a lot of energy to the table. People will say things to me like, well, they kill via a different mechanism. What mechanism is that they kill by?
Blood loss.
Exsanguination, you say.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when we shoot a deer?
Same.
Yes, correct. You get an ancillary benefit of little butt whoop behind it, right? That transference you talk about, shock. Hydrostatic shock, which is a thing that's highly contested, which I don't know what side of the fence I live on because I've shot things with 300 Weatherby at 3,650 feet per second, and you watch this pulse wave through the animal and the thing gets sucked into a wormhole and then spits back out.
I do not know how they can soak it up like that.
Yeah, they generally don't. But your bow is a deadly tool.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, deadly tool. This is worth a thought. And again, when you get into the questioning of that bullet mass being very, very apprehensive approaching a bullet that light, remember its construction first and foremost. What is that bullet designed to do? It's designed to maintain about 95+% of its mass. I've recovered 2 Barnes Bullets projectiles. One of them happened to be 130 grain TTSX from behind a coyote after I shot that coyote while it was standing next to a bentonite bank. It was frozen. It was colder than hell. Bullet goes through, smoked the coyote, of course. It was a 0.6. I dug the bullet out with my knife. Recovered weight was like 127. The second one of these I shot or recovered was out of a very large mule deer. I'd argue my largest bodied mule deer. I had no scale, so I couldn't tell you how much he weighed. Grande. Frontal shot, bedded, tough shot. Went through several ribs and then went through 7 vertebrae before it came to an at-rest position just forward of the hips. I excised the vertebrae, pulled it out, found the bullet in the spinal column, like the hole where the spinal cord goes, popped it out into my hand, got a great picture of it, took it home, weighed it 129 grains. Couldn't leave well enough alone, grabbed a 130 TTSX projectile out of the box, yanked the tip out, weighed it, tip was 1 grain. It lost the tip.
Just the tip.
Just the tip. After about a 40-inch journey through a muley. That muley was very dead. So it's really neat how they work. And then questions that I often get too are like, well, what could I hunt? Could I hunt big mule deer with them or black bears? Yep. Would you hunt them with a 150 or 165 in a cup and core? Yep. Good. This will do the same, possibly better. Our very own Erin, when she got her bison tag. Okay. We're going to paint this picture, and I've probably told this story before. Erin's a pretty small statured gal. She's very petite.
Mm-hmm.
Her guide said, bring a 300 Win Mag or a 45-70. So she comes to me and she's like, do you have a 300 Win Mag or a 45-70? I said, yeah, I got both.
It's like, yeah, but.
I go, well, yeah, it was odd. I was like, well, yeah, why? And she's like, well, I'm going on a bison hunt, and the guide says that's what I need to bring. I'm like, oh, this is a bad idea, because she's very petite. And I said, well, we can do this a couple different ways. I can zero that gun, give you the manual of arms, and then hand it to you, and you don't know what the recoil is going to do to you until you shoot it on that hunt. I don't love that because you're not really getting practice. Alternatively, I want you to ask him if you can use a 308. And so she gets a hold of the guide. Guide's like, yeah, 308's fine. I said, perfect. Kimber Mountain Ascent. At the time, it had a muzzle brake on it. 130 grain Barnes TTSXs. Erin and I went down to the range. I had some practice ammo, some 168 ELD match, and she shot 30 to 40 rounds that night. Did not fatigue, didn't get beat up, and she's tough, but...
Well, and that's a pretty snappy rifle, right? I mean, that's a very lightweight, mountain rifle. I've shot it before, hunted it before, really enjoyed it. Probably should have bought one at some point in time, didn't. But also the low mass of the 130 is playing into that recoil equation as well in a positive way, or less recoil. Yep.
And so she shot it. She did not feel beat up. She was very confident. She shot like crazy good with it. We did positional shooting. We went bench. We went kneeling. We went prone. Everything was rock and roll. And so I sent her on this hunt with 2 boxes of the 130 TTSXs. She gets to camp and they're getting everything all set up, and the guide takes a look at the box. 130s, no, it's over. And Erin, in her typical fashion, is like, trust the process. and the guide's like, okay, I guess, but we'll see what happens. And so here they come across this band of bison. She picks a very mature cow. So these are getting close to 1,000-pound animal, right? And bison are not, from what I understand, notoriously difficult to kill. They just don't show death like a lot of other things do, in that you'll hit them and they'll just kind of look at you and be like, you son of a... And so Erin targets just behind the shoulder on this animal. Bison hearts are located a little bit lower than what you might expect considering their size. She pulls the trigger, and to describe her, all 4 legs came up and the bison went straight down, nose in the dirt. I think the shot distance was just under 100 yards.
Okay.
When she took it. And she was very diligent because I asked her all these questions ahead of her going, like, please take a look and see what happened here. Please take a look and see what happened here. Full pass through. massive exit wound on the hide, like cut a hole in the hide.
I mean, the fact that there was an exit is impressive to me.
Mm-hmm. And then she sent me a picture of the heart, and bison hearts are like comically large.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah. And there's a better than golf ball sized hole through the heart. And another person on that hunt happened to be using a 300 Win Mag, different bullets. That one took a few hits. The first hit was good. The result was not the same. I'm not saying that means that the 308 Winchester is better than the 300 Win Mag, but bullet selection is in fact everything when it comes to terminal performance. Another very dear friend and podcast listener, Steve, you know who I'm talking about. Steve has a very early Browning BLR.
Oh, good for him.
His favorite rifle. He in fact just gave me the backstory about 2 months ago about how he bought it. And it reminded me of why I love guns. Steve decided he's going to get into hunting all over North America a few years ago. And so he's added elk, bison, mule deer, pronghorn, and moose. And Steve went to Newfoundland or Quebec. I can't remember. I have to ask him again. Killed a cow moose with that BLR, 130 TTSX. Result, DRT. Killed a bison, BLR. Result, DRT. Pronghorn, DRT. And because of the trajectory, Steve shoots a simple V-Plex reticle. Shoots a Viper HS with the V-Plex, not even the BDC. He and I zeroed it at, I think, 200 or 50, one of the two, and then mapped out what his next line is. It happens to be as far as he's willing to shoot, which is a hair over 3. And he's done so well with that combination. Absolutely loves it. Friends of mine have killed elk with this. Bears. Friends of mine have killed bears with it. It's what I hunted bear with. I never shot one, but that's what I hunted them when I went up north because I knew that it was just absolutely going to pile drive whatever I pointed it at. And I've killed sums of whitetails, pronghorn, and mule deer with this loading. And I think it is the most magical 308 loading you can get. And you'll be so surprised at how wonderful it is to shoot at distance. And then when you get to the field dressing component, when you open that thing up and you see the internal damage done, it makes sense. Like velocity does kill in this respect, and especially when paired with this bullet.
I don't know. I'm not convinced.
Well, Mark,
I'm just kidding.
I couldn't convince you to get a 308 anyway, despite
I will.
how fabulous it has been. And when you've shot it, you're like, man, this really is the answer. Not publicly, of course, but What questions do you have about this extremely special loading?
None. We've talked about it a million times.
Gladly.
And I always come. That's why we're talking about it today, because it's a good one. It's a unique one.
It is.
It's a standout loading that transforms through it. It's an incredibly effective.
But it is it is pokey.
But this one is a standout.
It's pokey. This is not pokey.
This one's not pokey. No. This one's coming in hot.
130s out of a 270. Typical standard velocity, 30-60.
That's what I was going to bring up. And every time we talk about this loading, that's what I mentioned. You think about how many things have fallen to a 270 shooting a 130 grainer.
6.5 Creedmoor, 140s, 2710. 2700.
I mean, if you're lucky.
Yeah.
I'm seeing 2650 a lot.
Yep. It's about 2660 is what my gun will do.
Yeah. So, no, it's a cool one. Can't hate the 308.
No, you can't.
That is a true statement.
Especially this load. Get a box, go out and shoot some things with it, and just go, whoa.
Well, and for a lot of hunting, I think if a person takes a step back and says, realistically, what am I going to do, or what do I need, or what are my shot distance going to be? How big of critters am I chasing? This is going to fit the bill for a lot of people and a lot of things.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what it doesn't fit for me.
By and large.
Yeah.
You step outside your general box of operation. But for a lot of things, this is going to be a great selection.
Yep. Shot that whitetail doe at just under 4. in deer camp with you.
Oh, yeah. She just dipped into the trees and
Toast.
kaput.
Yep.
Cool. All right, Ryan. Well, thanks for shining the spotlight on this one more time. It probably won't be the last time. You can't stop talking about it. For good reason. So thank you.
You should get a 308 mark.
I should. I really should. Maybe I will. I don't know. We'll see.
Get a suppress first.
I'll do that first. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Until next time, happy hunting and shooting. Your shooting might be this loading out of a 308. Who knows?
I hope so.
We'll catch you on the next one.
See ya.
Bye.